Hello, it's Charles with Uber Eats. Today is Saturday, the 28th of February, 2026. And I am blessed and grateful because I received the precious gift of tomorrow with God's wake-up call this morning. And I got to see another day here in beautiful, sunny, warm Tampa, Florida. And you woke up this morning with God's wake-up call, and you also received the precious gift of tomorrow and got to see another day here on earth. So we are both blessed, and I am most definitely grateful for all the blessings and great things God has given me in the past and in recent times. I've got a fantastic place to sleep every night in the camper, in a warm, clean, dry bed. I'm building a wonderful, strong Uber Eats business here in Tampa, Florida, which is a great market for Uber Eats. I get to enjoy any and all of the food I want anytime I want here in Tampa, Florida. The weather is fantastic, and I'm able to set aside money every week to save up for my next car, my retirement. I'm able to afford the rent, car insurance, gas, upkeep on my car. So I am blessed and grateful for everything the good Lord has given me. God is good. God is great. Always and always. Amen. It's another night. 3 or 4 nights in a row I haven't been able to see the moon or the stars. It's so overcast. So I'm hoping that changes in the next few days, because we've got a lunar eclipse happening on Tuesday. The next full moon is the worm moon on the 3rd of March, and it's also coinciding with a lunar eclipse. So I'm hoping I get to see it. Even if it's during the daytime, you can see I hope to get to see the shadow cast over the moon at some point in the next couple days. That's going to be something else to see. I'm looking forward to it. I hope I can see it anyway. I'm sitting up at my normal pump at the Circle K, and I've been inside already, and I got my free ice in my Starbucks cup. And this morning, the last day of the month, I went with peach tea. Monster Rehab, Revive, Refresh, Recover. Peach tea flavor, you see that? And with today being the 28th of February, and this can says A2613. So this can was just made January the 13th of last month. So this can is 1 month and 15 days old. 1 month, 15 days. I'm going to get it cracked open here and poured out, most of it poured out anyway. I'll drink that down and get the rest in there. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. There it is. See if this is any good. Oh yeah. The time right now is 4:10 a.m. and according to weather-atlas.com, the sun will rise today at 6:53 a.m. here in Tampa Bay. So that's 2 hours and 43 minutes until the sun comes up here in Tampa. And according to that website, weather-atlas.com, the sun will set this evening at 6:30 p.m. So today, Tampa will get over 11 hours and 37 minutes of daylight. I had a great day delivering yesterday. The weather was overcast. I hardly saw the sun at all yesterday. It was very gray. And the guy on the radio described it as gloomy. I wouldn't call it gloomy. It was just gray skies all day. But fortunately for me, the rain held off until after 5, which I normally stop delivering after 5 anyway. So I head back to the camper, and just about as soon as I was about 5 to 10 minutes away from the camper, it started to sprinkle a little bit. So the timing on the rain was just perfect for me, and I enjoyed hearing rain pitter patter on the camper all night, so that helped me sleep. I generally don't have a hard time sleeping anyway, but I had a very nice restful sleep in the camper all night listening to the rain. It was just a fantastic sleep. It looks like gas has went up again at this Circle K. Yesterday it was at $2.75 for the low grade, 87 grade gas. This morning it's went up 9 cents to $2.84 a gallon. And AAA and Gas Buddy is showing that the Florida state average has went down 2 cents to $2.88, but the national price of gas has remained the same at $2.98. So this Circle K is better than the Florida state average by 4 cents, and it's better than the national average price of gas by over 14 cents. And just like I said I was going to, I reminded most of my customers about the survey and told them how much I like getting feedback, and that I like to measure how I'm doing from one day to the next, and I just like knowing that I pleased my customers. I said that in different ways to different customers over the course of the day yesterday, both in person and in text. Whenever I could do it, whenever I was meeting the customer at the door, I always reminded them in person. I didn't do it in text message, but that paid off again. Not as well as it had done the day before when I got 25 upvotes, but yesterday I got 7 upvotes, and I'm happy with that. My acceptance score improved yesterday from 81% to 84%. I accepted 84% of the offers that came through the app. My on-time score went down 1% to 95%. I arrived at stores, customers' homes, and restaurants on time 95% of the time yesterday. This is Friday's business. My canceled orders are still at 2%, and my customer satisfaction score is at 99%. All of these are fantastic numbers. I'm most happy with the fact that my acceptance score went up to 84%. I was at risk of losing my diamond driver status. If it drops down below 80%, I'll lose that diamond driver status, and I don't want that at all. I mentioned my 7 upvotes. I had movement in all 5 metrics to some degree. My deliver with care went up 2 to 674. My friendly score went up to 1 to 595. I've had 595 people respond that I'm a friendly delivery driver. My quick and efficient upvotes went up to 585. That's a difference of 1. I had 2 people respond yesterday that I'm a good communicator. I'm at 580. And my perfect handoff, I now have 557 people responded that I delivered food to their door in a perfect handoff. I nearly forgot to mention I didn't eat breakfast at McDonald's yesterday. I ended up going to Waffle House to kind of a way to celebrate earning that $190 that I earned by completing 80 deliveries this week. I kind of wish I hadn't gone to that particular Waffle House, at least. It's not always the case whenever you're going there during a shift change, but this is a bad Waffle House to go to during a shift change. All that waitress care, I still had the overnight waitress. I got in there just after 6, and the overnight waitress was still there, and none of the daytime waitresses had come in yet. So all she cared about was getting her dishes done and cleaning up, and didn't care a bit about the customers that she still had to wait on, that she still had on her. She wrote me a ticket, but she never asked me if I wanted coffee. Didn't ask me how my meal was or anything. And I asked her for a well done waffle, 2 eggs over easy, Texas toast on the grill, and hash brown in the ring. None of that was quite right. I didn't ask for my bacon to be well done. It was well done, and my waffle was not well done. It was still doughy in the middle. And my eggs weren't all that great. So part of that was on the cook, but most of it was her problem, the waitress problem. I understand these waitresses have side work to do and things they have to do before they can leave their shift, but the customer should still be their top priority. And then this other side work is secondary duties. And, that Waffle House I went to back in Columbus, I would go there a lot of times during shift changes. usually in the evening. I would eat breakfast there in the evening during their shift change, and I never ran into those issues. And I've been there in the morning in that same Waffle House. I've been in the shift changes in the morning, and they never had problems serving their customers and delivering the food properly. So it just depends on the Waffle House you go to, of course. But I had a bad experience at that Waffle House, and I won't be back. And she even said, when she handed me my waffle, that's another thing. She had a difficult time with one of the customers getting them to pay at the register. He was trying to use his phone. You know how you can hold your phone up to the screen in Apple Pay? I guess it's called Apple Pay. He wasn't getting his Apple Pay to work, and she was having a hard time getting his phone to work to pay his food. And meanwhile, my waffle was sitting there on a plate getting cold. That's another thing I had a problem with her. Instead of just turning around and handing me my waffle, she's arguing with this guy. She was not juggling her duties. You have to, when you're in a restaurant, you have to juggle several things at a time. She wasn't good at juggling. Another one of her struggles she was having. So, and when she handed me the waffle, she noticed that the waffle wasn't well done. Well, it's too late. Once you take it out of the griddle, you can't put it back in. It'll flatten it, so there's no sense in asking the customer if it's well done or not. She knew it wasn't well done enough, and I wasn't about to ask her to put it back in there, because that wouldn't have corrected the problem. It would have gotten more well done, but it would have been flattened at that point and unedible. So I just won't be back to that Waffle House. That's my solution to the problem. But anyway, in addition to writing down the sunrise time and sunset time from that weather-atlas.com site, I also wrote down what weather I can expect here in Tampa, and this is what it had to say about Saturday's weather. It said, on Saturday in Tampa morning, clouds will linger before giving way to afternoon sunshine. Rainfall is not predicted for Tampa on Saturday. We'll see a high of 77 and a low of 61 going into Sunday morning. These are typical temperatures for February, it added. Humidity is at 83%, and winds will be out of the southwest at 7 miles an hour. And then I also asked Meta AI about the weather today, and this is how it responded. It said, Tampa's weather is looking decent for Saturday, the 28th of February. Expect morning clouds followed by afternoon sunshine, with a high in the upper 70s and lows in the low 60s. There is a 20% chance of rain today. That's based on the YouTube, the two YouTube channels I watched for the weather today, and based on weather-atlas.com. It's not going to rain today, but according to Meta AI, there's a slight chance of rain. So I'm not sure how it figured that out, but Tuesday's forecast looks promising for viewing the lunar eclipse. I phrased that question around the chances of my seeing the lunar eclipse on Tuesday, so that's why I threw that into the forecast. And then I went on to 10 Tampa Bay YouTube, and meteorologist Bobby Deskins was on there. He says the wildfires in the Everglades are slowing down. The spread of the wildfires is slowing down in the Everglades, and that's good to hear. Probably mostly because of the rain, and there's not much left to burn. The opportunity and the areas of the Everglades that were at risk of burning have already burned, probably. So it's a couple things that are playing into the spread of the wildfires in the Everglades slowing down, but it's good to hear nonetheless. He said only about 1,000 acres burned in the last couple days, he added. Wednesday and Thursday, only about 1,000 more acres burned, after seeing more than 25,000 acres burned in the Everglades in the last couple days prior to that. He went on to say the coming weekend is going to be beautiful. We're going to see a high of 77 and a low of 64 and sunny skies on Saturday. And then on Fox 13 Tampa Bay, meteorologist Dave Osterberg says the end of February is looking more seasonable, and we'll see average temperatures. Expect a high of 77 and a low of 61 today, Dave Osterberg said. The unsettled weather that we've seen in the last couple days will calm over the weekend, and we're going to have a beautiful weekend. It's looking very nice, Dave Osterberg says. I wrote down all the deliveries I completed yesterday for the 27th of February, and I had 16 customers and 14 trips. So most of these are singles, naturally. I started out the day, trip number 1 was for Julia. Julia wanted Einstein Brothers Bagels on Fowler Avenue. Julia's fare was $2, and she tipped me $5.60. So I made $7.60 on Julia's Einstein Brothers Bagels order. Thank you, Julia, for the $5.60 tip. I really appreciate that. And then I went on trip number 2 was for Sandy. Sandy wanted me to pick up Chick-fil-A on Cove Bend. Sandy was generous and tipped me $5.04, and her fare was $2.64, so I made $7.68 for picking up Sandy's Chick-fil-A order. Thank you, Sandy, for the over $5 tip. And then I picked up an order. I normally don't do these orders. Lowe's. I tend to avoid Walmart's, Lowe's, and Home Depot orders, but this was a favorable and a good paying trip, so I decided to take it. And I wanted to boost my acceptance score up, and this definitely helped with that. Mark, Landon, and Robbie had orders to be picked up at the Home Depot on Dale Mabry, and it paid me $14.67. So, and I didn't have to drive very far, so it was a good deal, and I wouldn't have taken it otherwise if it wasn't. But for picking up Mark, Landon's, and Robbie's orders at the Home Depot off of Dale Mabry, I was paid $14.67. Thank you for the $14.67, Mark, Landon, and Robbie. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the Home Depot business. Then what would have been trip number 4 was to the Mojo Grill Latin Fusion on Goldview Parkway for Jana. This order came in just after 10, and I was supposed to arrive at Jana's house by 10:34. Well, that place doesn't even open until 11. So I wasn't about to wait over almost an hour for her order to get ready, and then I would have had to wait longer because they were just still getting set up. So I texted Jana and explained to her that the place doesn't open until 11. And I left it at that. I didn't tell her I was going to cancel the order, but she kind of could have assumed that. I went ahead and dropped that order. And fortunately, when you run into a circumstance where the restaurant is not open, that doesn't count against the driver. It's out of their hands. A lot of other things are out of my hands that do count against me, but that's one thing that I couldn't avoid, and fortunately it didn't hurt any of my scores on the app. So after leaving Mojo Grill Latin Fusion without an order, I went on to pick up order number 4 for Laura. Laura wanted Original Brooklyn Water Bagel Company on Wesley Chapel Boulevard. Laura was very generous and tipped me nearly $8. She tipped me $7.99, and her fare was $2.13. So I made $10.12 for picking up Laura's Original Brooklyn Water Bagel order. Thank you, Laura, so much for the nearly $8 tip. I really appreciate you. It was very kind and generous of you, Laura. Thank you. And then I picked up order number 5 for Greg. Greg wanted Bamboozle Heights on North Florida. Greg was very generous and tipped me $10.18, and his fare was $2. So I made $12.18 for picking up Greg's Bamboozle Heights order. Thank you so much for that over $10 tip, Greg. That was very kind of you. And then trip number 6 was for Caleb. Caleb wanted Poke Company on East Kennedy. Caleb's fare was $2, and he tipped me $5, so I made $7 on Caleb's order. order. Thank you, Caleb, for the $5 tip. I really appreciate that. And thank you for the Pokey Company business. That helped. All these orders help earn me fares also. So I appreciate all of my customers that decided to use the Uber Eats app yesterday. And then trip number 7 was back to that Noventa Millis place, but this was a different location of the Venta Millis. It's also a food truck, but it's an entirely different place. This one's on Palm River. Paula wanted Noventa Millis on Palm River, and her fare was $2, and she tipped me $3, so I made $5 for picking up Paula's order. Thank you, Paula, for the $3 tip. I appreciate that. And then after dropping off Paula's order, I went on trip number 8 for Bart. Bart wanted KFC on 50th, and my 9th trip was for Tyler. Tyler wanted Starbucks on Martin Luther King. Bart tipped me $1.51 and Tyler tipped me $4.02. Thank you for those tips, Bart and Tyler. I appreciate the both of you. And then trip number 10 was for Davis. Davis wanted Kava Restaurant on Brandon. Davis tipped me $4 and I earned a fare of $2, so I made $6 altogether for that Kava delivery. Thank you, Davis, for the $4 tip. I appreciate that. And then trip number 11 was for Clarissa. Clarissa was very generous and earned a great fare for picking up her Firehouse Subs order off of Brandon. I earned a fare of $10.61 and Clarissa tipped me $7, so I made $17.61 for picking up Clarissa's order. That might have been my best paying trip of the day. Yes, it was by far. So thank you so much for the very generous $7 tip, Clarissa, and thank you for the $10 fare. I appreciate you. You didn't have to tip me anything, but you did. After dropping off Clarissa's Firehouse Subs order, I went on trip number 12 for Carol. Carol tipped me $5.46, and I earned a fare of $2, so I made $7.46 for Carol's hot tomato order. That's the hot tomato on College Avenue. Thank you so much, Carol, for the over $5 tip. And then I went on trips number 13 and 14. 13 was for Denny. Denny wanted China Star on Highway 41, and Matthew wanted Laborios. Not sure how to say that, but it's spelled Liborios. Liborios Latin Cafe on Causeway Boulevard. Denny tipped me $6.19 and his fare was $2, so I made $8.19 on that order. Thank you, Denny, for the $6 tip. And Matthew's fare was $2.58 and he tipped me $3, so I made $5.58 for Matthew's Liborios Cafe, Latin Cafe. Thank you, Matthew and Denny, for those tips. I really appreciate you, the both of you. Well, I'm going to wrap this up and go into McDonald's and enjoy another wonderful breakfast. God bless you all, and I will talk to you soon. Talk to you tomorrow.